So the Australian women's soccer team, called the Matildas, have recently been thrashed by an under-15 boys soccer team with an embarrassing score of 7-0. The Matildas are strongly fancied to give Australia its best chance at a medal in the sport of football at the Rio Olympics in August. Perhaps the Matildas should be thankful there will be no under-16 boys teams playing. In a friendly match against the Newcastle Jets under-16 boys team, the Matildas were totally humiliated 7-0. This is the team ranked 5th in FIFA's women's rankings, which was slammed by a bunch of lads barely old enough to have pubic hair. Gary Van Egmond is assistant Matildas coach and academy director of Newcastle Jets. Then Egmond explained that the Matildas are often forced to play boys teams because there is not enough quality female opposition in our part of the world. In other words, we have a small team of women who like to pretend they're great soccer players, while the rest of the female nation could not give a damn even if they tried. Because of this, any female who barely touches a soccer ball in Australia is assumed to be the next Ronaldo, on paper anyway. But when a bunch of boys turn up to challenge these soccer mums, suddenly they're losing 7-0. And calling them mums suits them just fine. Take a look at how old some of these soccer women are. Now, I wouldn't normally hang dirt on such poor performance from a female soccer team. However, only last year the Matildas have complained about a wage gap between the Australian men's soccer team, the Socceroos, and the Matildas. The Matildas should be paid according to the constraints of income generated by women's football. If there is little income, then women's football is recreation and not a job. If men have to subsidize women's football, then that is undeserved charity and social engineering. If the product is any good, as deemed by football fans and sponsors, then they will thrive. And given by the latest results while being beaten by a bunch of 14-year-old boys, I think that women's soccer in Australia is rather lacking. The Socceroos play in front of crowds of 30,000 plus when they play, with everyone paying at least $50 for the privilege. They have a number of sponsors. A-League matches have attendances of 5,000 plus, with some clubs pulling significantly more people than that, for 27 weeks of the year, with everyone paying at least $20 for the privilege. Matildas and Women's Soccer League matches are played in front of a few hundred people at best, even when the cost of admission is free or a token amount. You're asking men who generate the revenue to subsidize the women, and that is discrimination. And even the UFC bantamweight champion of the world, Ronda Rousey, admits that for what she brings to the UFC championship, she's worth every cent she's paid and nothing more.
Let's do that.
We talk about separate but equal, but having even mentioned the Floyd Mayweather fight, they walked away with hundreds of millions of dollars at stake. You being at the height of your sport, maybe make what, $1 million at most per fight. Does that anger you, and what can we do to change that?
I don't like to talk about exactly how much money I make, but I'm extremely comfortable and happy.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. So
and if I got to a point where I had almost 50 fights, I would probably be making close to the same amount of money that Floyd does. But at this point, I have 11, so I can't expect it to be exactly equal yet. I don't think. I have to put more time in.
So now that's the end of the video. Please support my channel by subscribing, commenting, and liking. Cheers!